Hello, hello. I am Dark Soul 88, 188, or you can just call me Soul. I am your commentator for Shiro's Return to Dreamland run for RTA In Japan. I will admit up front, I will not be able to translate anything Shiro says. My Japanese, sadly, is not that good. But as you can already see, I might as well just already bring up, this run has two different categories of one controller or 2+ controllers. One controller is self-explanatory, you just use one controller. 2+ means you use anywhere from 2 to 4, as you can see on the layout. Shiro has 2 setups of 2 controllers of each, which means he will be using 4 controllers throughout the run for various things. The multiple controllers actually allow for faster and different strategies, such as riding Meta Knight through the air. By doing this, you can just kind of fly over everything you need to. You don't really have to worry too much about attacks or abilities. Meta Knight offers a lot of movement just from Shuttle Loop alone. And you'll notice that Shiro already has another controller ready to make a 3rd player at pretty much any point. For now, though, we're just gonna get around with fire, grab the key, get our mandatory energy sphere, the first of 120 of those that we're gonna need throughout the run. In the meantime, Kirby's just gonna blaze through everything with fire while Meta Knight just kind of sits and watches. He doesn't need to do a whole lot right now. That'll change very soon as we make our 2nd Kirby to grab Ultra Sword here. Rooms like this, the main thing is just the game wants you to just keep using the sword constantly to get through all the enemies and stuff, but really you only need to use it in one specific spot. So we do that. So that is something we do to save time. We make a portal that goes off into another dimension. Unfortunately, this means our ability is lost. But that's okay, we have Meta Knight, and we can just kind of ride him and Shuttle Loop through it. And you'll also see that Kirby's kind of charged up, and that's to do an attack really soon here, to kind of speed things along. Or not. Either way, Meta Knight makes skin through this very trivial and very simple. And then we'll go into this room, dismiss them, and get fire so we can get through this mini-boss very quickly. Like that. As you can see, beating those mini-bosses gives you 2 energy spheres and gives us the rest for the stage, and we can just kind of use fire to get out of here. And now it's time for everyone's favorite, the gold game, which we promptly try to not do as much as we can. Don't even see it a lot of times. You don't want to play them. Unless you're doing it casually, then you want to play them a lot. And you want to try to get to the top. For now though, since we have fire, we don't really need Meta Knight for anything, so for now you'll actually see a little bit of just solo Kirby. At least for now, it won't be long before you probably see someone else coming out. Meta Knight is good, but Fire's movement is just a little bit better. And it's easier to deal with. You only deal with 1 controller instead of 2 at the moment. Have to be a little careful to avoid the Cutter Essence there, because otherwise that would change the ability, and that would be not great. Very simple room, and you just see Meta Knight being prepared, because we will need them soon again. And there we go, we call them in to grab the energy sphere for us, because we don't just... Doing it ourselves would just be a little bit slower, and why do that when we could just get Meta Knight to do it for us. Plus, he makes it through this room a lot nicer. Just the energy's here for us, goes back, lets us go straight through the door. Dismiss him for now, we won't need him for a moment. We'll need him again right now, though, because we need to get through that. And that lets us just try to get through the door while we're letting Meta Knight get that for us. By the way, if you're using multiple controllers, you do need to make sure to do the gold game the same way for both of them. And that is to say, we don't play the gold game, we just get to the lowest cloud and call it a day. But now you have to do it with two controllers, it's a little bit harder. なのですぐソロとマルチプレイを切り替えることができるので、それを活用していくと。でいわゆるカメラワークですね。この画面 we will end up needing Meta Knight again pretty soon here because of a super ability room that's coming up very shortly, and unfortunately it means we won't have fire. Well, actually wait, no, we'll probably just haul another Kirby if I. Actually, I said I'd have to stage it stuff, it's the next stage. Either way, we don't need Meta Knight now, we just need fire. Careful to avoid the beam essence, even though I personally disagree with that one, but that's just me. Have Meta Knight go get the T for us, and then as long as we're careful, we can have him go across for us and get the T, and then we pretty much just dismiss them. Yeah, at some point. として戻らないので、ちょっとそういうところもしっかりね、今回のこの RTA だと、いわゆるこの残機の運用、体力の運用なんかは重要な要素になっています。はい、で、ここのマップはまた同じように。And now we have this little obstacle course of sorts with the. これで進んでいって。With another T. I forget the exact name of the enemy. I want to call it a TD, but I don't think that's actually correct. Anyway, you'll see Meta Knight just sitting there waiting menacingly, and just smacks him, grabs the T, and on the way we go. 進んで鍵開けて取るみたいな、こういういわゆる連携プレイですね。はい。あとはこのよくあるこのゴールゲーム、これもちょっと同時操作になるんですけれども。Meta Knight went a little bit higher that time, but that's okay. It's not a big deal as long as they stay on like the same cloud pretty much. ただその7の着地の中でもですね、ちょっと微妙な猶予フレームがあって、一応3フレーム。Also, the other players can enter the doors, so that actually means Meta Knight did it just a little bit faster than Kirby can. はい、ということで1の4です。For now, though, Meta Knight's just gonna sit and watch while Kirby just goes through everything, and Meta Knight grabs that energy sphere kind of off screen. ここも連携でエナジースフェアを取っていくところ。さあ、そしてここでカービィシリーズおなじみの無敵キャンドル。You have to be careful not to make Meta Knight fall down a pit, because while it's not going to be a big problem, it will mean the life that was used to make him is completely lost. Likewise, if Meta Knight takes damage. Like that. Luckily, lives are relatively easy to acquire, but yeah, Colin and another player will use up one life, and if they're at full health when you dismiss them, you'll get it back, and if they aren't, you won't. It's pretty much it. So, very simple, very straightforward. Bit of an unfortunate bump there, but that's fine. Have Kirby get our energy sphere while Meta Knight goes through the door this time. And now for our second super ability segment, which is Monster Flame. This time, however, we have Meta Knight to handle our movement. So we'll just do that. But you would think, oh, just make another Kirby for it? No, that honestly, movement with fire would be pretty awkward here, and Meta Knight's a lot more consistent. Because you just show the loop to where you need to go, pop Monster Flame on the tree here. and give us a second portal. In fact, Meta Knight just keep flying into it for us, which is even better.
なので基本的にはですね、その都度こう必要な能力をこう現地調達するという。
As before, Meta Knight makes moving through these very, very nice and simple.
ソードを持っているので、まあこうなんていうかナチュラルでこれ当たり判定がそのまま前方にあるみたいな状態ですね。まあこれもうまく使いながら進んでいってます。
And this time we don't grab an ability because we're going to make another Kirby, and we're going to do this attack here where if all three dart at the same time, they charge this really powerful attack that just chews through a lot of fights. And sometimes that manages to do it a lot even faster than just using an ability. Like, yeah, you could use the ability and it's relatively quick, but you can also just do that, and enemies don't really have much of a chance. Also, you see that Shiro has dismissed both the for Kirby and Meta Knight. I am actually not sure if his strat on our boss here, which is going to be Wispy Woods. It's a Kirby game. First boss is usually always the tree, unless it isn't. In this case, though, it is. Fire is still one of our better options for damage as well as movement, and you're going to see this put to pretty good effect here. And now we get Meta Knight out ready, who is going to take one for the team and go right into his mouth as Kirby just finishes burning the tree. That's all we needed Meta Knight for. We needed him to take a hit, and he did it admirably. Anyways, that gives us our first part towards repairing the ship that you didn't see at the start of the game because we skipped the cutscenes. So, I guess to give like a little bit of a story background, Kirby was having a nice day with his friends, and then Mandalore's ship crashes down. You know, things happen. Also, his energy tiers got scattered around. That's also part of why the ship can't move. Although, if you were doing 80%, you only need to ever grab one. But for 100%, we have to grab all of those. And then you just briefly saw a set of rooms that you need more energy spheres to go through. Those are challenge stages. You won't see those until near the end of the run because it's faster to do them all at once for various reasons. But those stages are required for 100%, and this run goes through those at the end and gets all the energy spheres. That's really the main difference between this and 80%. But this means Hundo has a lot more strats and a lot more variants in what needs to be done, because you can't just compared to 80%, where a lot of the time you really want wing, because wing's movement is just unparalleled. You can't do that for this run. And in fact, you're seeing on the screen now, Shiro has all 4 ready. So we are probably going to be seeing some 4-player strats pretty soon here, and those strats get kind of wild. And in fact, we have our first appearance of King DDD here, or Day-to-Day if we want to go for Japanese here, but still. Either way, use him just for kind of the quick door and then dismiss him for now. He will almost certainly show up again later. He's not as good as Meta Knight. Meta Knight's movement is still a lot better when you need movement. DDD is really good if you need either a really hard hit or if you just need, like, a hammer. And there will be moments where that comes up. And Shiro needs to be really careful in this room to not take the hit from these rocks. Because if the rock actually hits you, it'll make your ability come out and then immediately break the ability, so you lose it right immediately. And to get through those three, yes, you do need a damage boost.
という形ですね。さあ、ここでまた無敵キャンディを進めていきます。ということで、今回ね、アパレルブランド無敵時間さんのね。
Also, Kirby's base movement is a lot faster when you have Candy, and that is why you saw him slide for a little bit there.
今、あれですよ、R ちゃんのね、ぬいぐるみ、オープニングの時に上のモッカさんがちょっと紹介されてました。この予約今販売されてますけど、さあここもせーのでこれどんどん空気弾ですね。でこれなんかボンボンこう無計画にこれ出しているわけじゃなくて、これタイミングしっかり取ってねやってます。
And we just we just saw DDD come back mostly just to be an extra body for that guard attack that I've mentioned before.
まあそこらの仕様があるので、こう。And
it's because we don't need the bonkers. Like if we needed to break through the stuff, we have DDD who can do it, and Fire Kirby can break those blocks also with the burning dash. So there's really no need to actually have him out otherwise, and that's why you're seeing very brief uses. Just in terms of movement, he's not going to do anything for us. And especially here, where we have lots of water and lots of, like, kind of aerial movement. But we will need him again. DDD has a hammer, and he can pound through stakes and certain things like as we need to. Such as right... And he called the wrong one. Yeah, so sometimes you can also just miss input and get the wrong one. So he instead called Bandana D, which isn't a bad one. Spear is a good ability and also can cut through ropes and stuff like Meta Knight can. But it doesn't break through safes and stuff, so that's kind of a problem.
ウィングですね。まあ全く同じってわけでもなく、ちょっと微妙に仕様が違うところはありますが、基本的にはその能力を標準で持っていると考えてもらえればと思います。なので通常であれば先ほどのようなエナジースピアってこういう道中手に入れる能力をしっかり使ってギミック突破してっていうところになるんですけれども。
Again, makes things much simpler in trying to get through that room and deal with everything you need to. One player, you would have to hit the block, go swim to the thing, probably kill the enemies because they're going to be past the door by that point, and then go through it again. Bit of a misdirection there, that happens. And we are very close to getting our third super ability of the game. Once we get to it. So this is Flare Beam. You probably won't get to see a lot of it because, again, using it's relatively slow. And so we get to the spot that we need. And what this does is it makes a giant ball of electricity that you can just move around as you need to. And just to save time, we're calling Meta Knight here, so we don't have to wait for the animation to end. And we get into there just a bit sooner. We also did the shuttle loop through all of that while being very dangerously close to the bottom of the stage. This is a very precarious position for Shiro, and if he messes this up, it could be very bad. It's not the worst thing if it happens. You just get spat back to the beginning of this whole segment, but it is a massive time loss if it happens. So ideally, you don't want it to happen. You probably want to do safer strats if you're not used to doing this run. Also, would you believe that Parasol is actually really good in this game? Parasol actually does a surprising amount of damage, has a very good attack in the grounded drill move, and as you can see, also is very good at dealing with mini-bosses. Actually, it's good in general. Like, Parasol's actually... This is probably one of the better appearances for the ability. And a lot of the abilities in this game are actually just generally pretty, anywhere from decent to kind of amazing.
能力がね、パラソルは全能力最速ということで、ただし操作が難しかったりとか、あとはちょっと障害物に弱かったり、高低差があるとちょっと厳しいところもあって、総合的には
just for an example, I like mentioned Wayne before. Wayne's actually like good at fighting. It's just very awkward to use. So you probably won't see it much for combat, but you will see it eventually.
では、全技最強のいわゆるダメージ効率 DPS を持っていると。なかなかポテンシャルは高いんですけれども、それを引き出すのが
For now, though, we're just gonna fly through this room as Meta Knight because that's gonna make things easier for us.
さあ、そしてニノさんですが、
This stage is very, very vertically inclined. And now that we're high enough, we can just fly up, drop Parasol, get Tornado for even better aerial movement.
こういうやっぱマルチプレイ一番の敵はね、いわゆる操作ミスになってくるので、さあここもちょっと見せる。
And now you're going to see another Kirby just kind of do a whole ton of stuff off screen that did that one energy sphere as we wait up here at the top.
3P が出てくると
Now this room kind of is like, oh, go get high jump and just use that to get through the room. But we have Meta Knight, so we don't care. In fact, we continue to not care.
ちょいちょいとこう 3P の操作してますからね。ここが非常に大変。
So this is King Dude. We're just going to do the same strat we've been doing.
ということで、中ボスのキングス戦ですね。これは3人タワー。
But we actually need Beam for this. So Blue Kirby here is going to grab that. We're going to keep flying through as we need to. And there's one little spot here that we actually need Beam to do. And there we go. That's
これ
it.
ちょっと射程があるので、ビームでぶっ壊すというところですね。ちなみにビームの出番、普通のビームの出番はここだけです。
The one time that Beam gets to actually
こん
shine.
な感じでね、やはりピンポイントで使わなければいけない能力とかあったりするので、ここもちょっと同時操作で、メタナイトを操作しつつ、カービィはそのまま本線の。
And now for the difficult three button goal game.
これゴールゲームしないと
Kira did that no problem.
着地した瞬間にそのままA ボタンというか1ボタンを押すという形ですね。
And Blue Kirby is done. We are going to dismiss him.
1P じゃない、2P 以降のキャラを
While Kirby just quickly tornadoes his way across.
されてワープでも1P のカービィのところに戻ってきてしまうというところがあるんですね。なので
Another kind of difficult room, but we have very good movement, and that's going to make things a lot more comfortable.
いわゆるカメラ役みたいな形で、カメラを操作するためにちょろっとこう微調整するみたいな場面が出てきます。
And thanks to having a third player, we did have Meta Knight just stay on that switch for that energy sphere as we just continue onward with Tornado.
ここはトルネードでそのままグワーッと進んでいくところですね。ちょっと次のマップが暗闇のマップで少し難しいところですね。これトルネードの能力。
Also another room where it's like, oh, it's really dark, grab the candle and proceed to just not because we don't actually need it that badly.
暗いですし、ちょっと狭いところもあるんでね。なかなかぶつかりやすいところです。さらに今その中でね、メタナイトも操作しながら進んでいってましたね。はい。
But we do have a mini boss coming up. Our good friend Water Doll borrows. And we are going to do the same strat we've been doing. Multiplayer guard boost, which just kind of chews through everything. Oh, also, there's no energy sphere behind that, so we don't actually care to dip water. Not that water's bad, water has good movement, and you can stay on top of the water a little more easily with it, so it is good, but we just don't need it right now.
これあると透明状態なんで敵からも干渉を受けないのと、あとこの透明なクリスタルの飛び。
What we did need is that invisibility gem, so we could very quickly get into this room, get our third energy sphere of the stage,
この後は異空間のマップになるので、
and then quickly tornado way out,
ウルトラソードですね。
and over towards our next bit of Ultra Sword usage. We'll just have Blue Kirby grab that so we can get through quicker. Tornado is going to make this a lot nicer in general, because you didn't do stuff like sneak through the spikes. You don't have to worry about a lot of the stuff in this room because you can just kind of plow through it in one way or another.
してあげるように進んでってます。
Also, you'll see that instead of the standard tornado move, you're seeing this weird dash, and that dash has invincibility, which makes things, which is the main thing keeping us alive here and letting us get through this stuff without just taking a hit, losing tornado, having to deal with all that. And as before with these, Meta Knight is our best friend in pretty much almost all of these dimensional dates. I guess is the best way to put it. I don't really know. Point is, Shuttle Loop continues to be very, very useful for us and gets us through here without any trouble. Also, we are now doing 4-player guard attack. This Sphere Doomer doesn't have a chance. Honestly, it pretty much is the Great Maze. Also, we don't have to go through the rest of that. We can just die and spit ourselves out quicker, like that. And now, for the dreaded 4-player goal game. Still done decently. Y'all look so sad. But yeah, it is kind of like the Great Maze speedrun and brawl where you're just using Shuttle Loop everywhere.
ということで、2の5ミスターダウター戦、ボス戦ですね。ここは、すぐに4人タワー組んでせーのでドンするんですけれども、ここも先ほど言ったちょっとタイミングのずらしがありますね。2発目とちょっと3発目で明らかにタイミング違うので。
Also, you see that we're keeping all 4 players this time, and that is probably because if I know what's about to happen, our boss here, Mr. Duder, yes, that's his name. No, I don't know why that's the name who's given. But he also doesn't like when 4 players just guard in front of him and keep doing giant blasts.
これで半分削って、ちょっとパターンが変わるんですが、引き続きこれは当てていって、ちょっと防御力が上がるタイミングがあるので、さっきずらしていたということですね。はい、
And that's it. Call them all back as we're done with the parade for a bit.
すぐに、2人目から4人目は、消しておきます。これダンスがこれ始まるときに、いわゆる立ち位置調整の歩く時間が。
You will probably not get to see a lot of the bosses. They're probably going to die very quickly. And as you can see, like Wispy just gets burnt to a crisp. Mr. Duder gets 4 player 1 player 4 controller.
かけておきます。はい、で、次のレベルに行きますね。レベル3がオニオンオーシャンです。ここでちょっと、RTA のそのカテゴリーの話になるんですけれども、N% と 100% の違いですね。
Also, there's a whole animation if you leave the ship for the warp star, so it's faster to just go back to the world map from the pause screen, and that's why we do that.
エナジースピアを全部集めなければいけないので。でさっき言ったその入るたびに能力が剥がれてしまうので、ずっと同じコピー能力を維持するということができないです。なので、こうやって現地調達でさまざまな能力を。
And it's been a little bit since we've seen Meta Knight Shuttle Loop outside of the interdimensional gates. So now we can just. So now this room's kind of neat, kind of just mostly flat, so we can just get through it a lot easier this way. Also, Meta Knight needs to hold on to that warp star better. That continues to be as precarious as the Shuttle Loop near the complete bottom of the stage.
吸い込むとルーレットが始まって、能力を入手することができる。本来はランダムなんですけどね、それを目押しするっていうテクニックを使いますけれども。そういう形で結構ね、2% と 100% はかなり。
Anyways, we don't need Meta Knight now. We have our good friend Tornado back, and Tornado is, as before, very good.
進んでいくところですね。
Dip into the water, the animation cancel a bit there.
ちょっとトルネードの細かい仕様なんかもあったりして、 構トルネードを使った時にいわゆる十字キーを入れないニュートラルの状態だと少しカメラワークが遅くなるというかカメラの追従が少し遅くなってカービィが先行するような感じなんですね。これは真ん中にいるので、そのままなんですけれども、ちょっと場合によってはニュートラルなんかも使ってでニュートラル
You've also probably been noticing each time he uses tornado, Shiro's been also shaking the Wii remotes. And that is because if you shake the Wii remote, you kind of charge up tornado, and it does this kind of finisher move. The move adds a lot of end lag to it, but it makes it a lot safer to end. And we're probably gonna be dropping it here because our next super ability here, Snowball, is actually very twitch. Kirby basically just turns into a giant icy Katamari that also kinda just has like Sonic Spin Dash. It is very fast in general. Snowball is great. Probably the fastest super ability to use in the game. Like, Meta Knight absolutely ain't keeping up here, even if he tried. I'll be honest, I probably should have watched one of Shiro's runs before this, but that's fine. I know enough about this day and this run. And you did have potentially live reactions of the movement I am seeing here.
こんな感じでいわゆる画面外の自動ワープとあと今この構えている手動ワープをうまく使い分けているところです。ちょっとワープさせるタイミングがずれちゃうとこのトゲの敵ですね、ゴルドに当たっちゃったりするので、そのための調整ですね。で途中からこの後の
If you're feeling particularly spicy, there is that one up, but it takes time to get that, and we don't really want to do that.
準備をしてますね。
And we are quickly preparing for our... And quickly preparing for our next really fun bit here, where this Sphere Doomer gets the same treatment as the other Sphere Doomers and dies very quickly. And that's it. Three hits with the four players, and that's it. This is the time where I really should bring up that bosses and mini bosses actually get extra health with more players, and that attack is still killing it in 3 hits. That attack is just, it's very strong, but also just kind of ridiculous when you realize, oh, wait a minute, that enemy has inflated health, and it's still dying that quickly.
ここで先ほどちょろっと言ったトルネードの使用のところですね。ちょっと注目してみてもらえればと思うんですけれども。
The trade-off is trying to use multiple controllers by yourself is expensive if you don't already have them, and also very difficult because you have to figure out some way of like holding them. Like for Shiro, he has 2 sets of 2 rubber banded together, and that's one way it works. I have known another runner to actually just put them all together in like a queue and do it that way. It's honestly kind of cursed.
そして中ボス戦の残機ブル戦3タワーのせーので飛んで倒します。
By the way, we don't need Cutter here. We have Meta Knight. Like so. Just cuts it for us, gets the energy sphere. Does his job as well as ever. While Kirby here just tornadoes through everything because why wouldn't you? Kind of a weird bit of movement there, but that's fine. And then Waddle Dee gets us into our next room that we need. Also, Spears just really good at ranged attacks like this. So he's able to just get the energy sphere and then we leave. The multiple controller thing is a little bit cursed, I'll admit, but it's also really fun to see. There's just so many different tricks that you do with 2+ than you do with 1. But it is really hard to actually try to use multiple controllers, and if you don't actually own the multiple controllers, it's kind of a pain because you have to buy them. And unfortunately, official Wii remotes are getting a little bit harder to actually acquire. That said, doing it as one player isn't that much slower, but it is a noticeable difference.
本当に最近見つかったテクニック、今年10月にシロさんが発見したテクニックということで、この上方向に泳ぐときにカービィが水鉄砲を出しながら泳ぐとなぜか速くなるみたいなテクニックがあるそうで。通常水の中だとね、カービィ能力使えなくて、手持ちのパラソル。
And unfortunately, one player also means you lose. One controller just means you lose a lot of your movement options on a regular basis because of super abilities. So what you end up having to do is very different. Like you end up damage boosting a lot with it.
はい、ということで次の3の3が結構カービィ Wii トップクラスのね、ちょっと難関マップということで結構記録が潰されることも。
Oh right, I forget this game is getting a remake in a couple of months. Hooray! The Joy-Con Cube, all of it drifting at once.
ここはですね、このトルネードの能力をなるべく維持したいんですけれども、ここの後半で出てくる
Just call that Kirby drift.
いわゆる被弾すると能力が剥がれてしまうようなところですね。なのでいかにこれトルネードを維持して進むことができるかっていうところになります。あとはこう途中のマップとかもね、結構こういうなんか Also,
quick damage boost there, so we don't have to deal with the spikes. As before, the spikes will drop Kirby's ability, and pretty much is immediately lost between both being in there and the water. Kirby Air Ride still deserves a sequel. I mean, more accurately, I guess City Trial deserves a sequel, but point remains. Also, why would we do just one path? Why would we do both? And make sure we actually do the correct one.
本来は片方壊して網だくじのように、途中の横のところでね、左右移動が発生するんですけれども、それを
little bit of just a squid pop out of the ramp, pop out of the water for the tornado movement. And then back in. I don't understand that movement, but I guess if it works, it works. Also, this is Moundo. We do the same strat. And we actually need stone here, so we are going to grab it. There we go. And now we don't need either of the other Kirby, so we'll just dismiss them for now. Unfortunately, the Kirby safety damage is kind of not a good thing because we are losing some of our extra lives, and if we don't have, even if we have no extras, we can still call them, but they will have reduced health. Also, this time we are going to do like the standard path. If you take this one, this actually takes you straight to the energy sphere in kind of the middle here. And now for probably one of the probably more fun segments. There's actually lots of wind in here. And that's just sort of keep pushing Kirby, and with Tornado we just go even faster and just completely fly through everything. Very, very scary set. It's a very scary segment, because if you mess any of your movement up, you're probably going to hit a Gordo, and it's not going to be fine.
ドラゴストームですね。さあここがちょっと難しいところです。この半魚人像というやつ、こいつがダメージ食らってしまって能力星も剥がれてしまうので、しっかりこれトルネードの無敵の時間を使って抜けていくところです。最後までしっかりトルネードを維持して持ってくることが。
Tornado just makes that room entirely trivial. Also, I'm not familiar with that video.
空間まで行きますと。はい、素晴らしいですね。
I might have seen it, but I don't remember it offhand.
トルネードを維持するのね、本当に先ほどの半魚人像をこう回避していくのがね難しいところなので。
And this time, unfortunately, we have entered the 7.8 section of the interdimensional rooms, which mostly just means there's too much water here, and we are not going to need Meta Knight because, sadly, Meta Knight cannot shuttle loop in water.
で、ブロック壊しながらこうお互いにこうどんどん進んでいくみたいなところですね。でこの能力星複数吸い込んだ時にこういう貫通弾になるんですけれども、これ吸い込んだ、個数のによってその大きさと速さがこれ反比例するので、あまり吸い込みすぎるとこれ星の速度が遅くなってしまうのでね、ちょっとそこは注意が必要ですね。はい、でその先は、スピアローパセになります。
Yeah, pretty much. Meta Knight just can't swim, and that is very unfortunate.
タイミングが難しいところです。これパラソル使って体力調整しながら倒すことですね。なんでこれも、しっかりこれ技の使い分けをしながら、倒していく。
Sometimes Joy-Con drift can happen even when there's no movement from the stick, but usually it'll be from doing something with the stick beforehand.
見せどころみたいなところになるので、ちょっとその辺、注目いただければ。
But if you're doing multiple Joy-Cons, that's not really an option because you're going to be using them sideways.
閉じてこれ背負ってるところもね、なかなか見ないところ。通常ステージだと。
And if you're going to do 4-player with 2 Joy-Cons each, then you're going to need 8 of them. And that is 8 times the potential drift.
はい、ということで、3の4ですね。割とこう水中が多いステージですね。
Yeah, I think it was that way for me with my first Pro Controller, and then unfortunately that Pro Controller is at the point where it just drifts in general now.
この技があるので結構パラソルは水中でも。
But yeah, sometimes it can just do that. I actually did have a Joy-Con that drifted that exact way. That one I sent in, and they replaced it for free. I believe they still actually do free repairs for the Joy-Cons. So worst case, you can usually send it in. They'll more likely replace it rather than try to fix it straight up. But it does mean it's going to take time for it to go, be sent in, whole thing be dealt with, sent back. It's still an involved deal, sadly.
でこの後はそのまま、ちょっとまだ水中、うまくこういう感じでダメージギミックを。
They might have. I don't honestly know offhand.
これで突破してると。
But I can't say I blame them, but also I really wish they would revise them somehow so they wouldn't drift. It'd be even better if they found a way to put in I think it's a hull sensor, I think it's called. Because those are much more resilient to drifting.
ここは、デレダイを出してこの向こう側の扉というのはこれ星ついてないんですけれども、左の部屋から入るとここに星があるからここ入れるよねっていうのが分かる。
And I'm glad we're starting to see that with some controllers now, because the Switch does have an option for that through third party.
ここからはちょっとデレダイにも協力してもらって、デレダイなのでこの爆弾ブロック。
But that thing is not Joy-Con sized.
結構角攻めなんかしますね。
Honestly, the circle pad works pretty good as long as we're not talking about playing a lot of Smash 4. That's about the only thing I've seen that like truly ruined circle pads. Poor DDD just eats the giant spike ball. Kirby could not get over there quite quickly enough to save him.
でその次のマップでですね、少しこれパラソルのうまい使い方というか。
But he is, however, really good handling this for us.
2連パラソルドリルっていうテクニックがありまして、本来空中では1回しか出せない、この横方向に進むパラソルドリルですね。これを2回出すっていうのを使います。タイミングとしてはこれスイッチを押した後ですね。ちょっと注目ください。この横方向に
Also, we have finally gone into a room where you get to see parasol movement, and parasol movement is interested in... Oh no. Unfortunately, we have blown up the bomb, and now we must carry it again.
Energy Sphere 入手。ちょっと難しいところでしたね。はい。本来パラソルドリルっていうやつはダッシュ状態で
Honestly, I think so because that's the only time I've seen like any of the tracks like legit fail. If Shiro had done that correctly, what you would have seen is Parasol Kirby just flying through the room, getting to the block that we need to throw the bomb at, and then DDD throws the bomb, and probably Kirby the one going for the energy sphere at that point. So sometimes those things just don't work out. And she was able to recover from that pretty easily, pretty solidly.
さあこれで3の4をクリアして、次がボスのファッティバッファー戦ですね。ここもそのパラソルの使い方、まあパラソルとの相性がいいと思う。
But yeah, surprisingly enough, Parasol's actually good with movement. Has a lot of fun movement, but a lot of tough movement. Because every time you want to do the Parasol, you can only do one Parasol drill in the air, or rather, you have to redo the input every time you want to do Parasol drill. But you can chain them in the air. It's actually fun if you can do it consistently. Though admittedly, most of my experience with it is not in this game, but in a different one where there are other challenge stages, and Parasol's one of them in that. I am really hoping those didn't make a return in the Return to Dreamland remake, because they are not, while they're not part of the base game, in fact, they're not part of the game at all, it'd be nice to see them return. Also, that was Fatty Puffer. Parasol just kind of gets rid of him in a hurry. As I said, bosses are not going to last long. And so there's usually not a lot to say about any of them. Like, Wispy Woods barely gets to do anything other than try to suck someone up. Mr. Duder actually doesn't get to do anything really, and neither does Fatty Puffer because Parasol's attacks carry a lot of invincibility and makes it very easy to just kind of invalidate all the attacks it does. That's fine though. The next boss might get to have a little bit more about it. Until then, we're just going to see Parasol Kirby just kind of very quickly drill around and just make a very quick path. Which is good. The ice in here is not the best to travel around if you don't have to. But we do have to deal with these ice blocks, so we do have to drop a fire.
バーニングアタックもね、少し細かい仕様があって、このなんか
Also, you'll notice that we almost never grab the items, and that's because unless it is something actually locked in an energy sphere, we're probably never going to need it.
移動になるので、まあそれを
and or the type of lock it breaks, we have a way of breaking it.
それをちょっと適宜調整しながら、さここは吹っ飛ばし対抗ってやつでちょっとどっかのゲーム
Now, this cannon run can be a little bit worrisome because there's a few cannons where if you mess up, you will go straight down into your death.
しっかりこの、動くタイミングで、発射すると。ここもちょっとエナジースフィアね、これ先進んじゃうとちょっと戻れないので注意するところですね。この辺はちょっと回転のタイミングが早いので難しいです。
Luckily, Shiro is able to not mess that up. And get straight over to our goal like we need to, and we're good. Also, this run's a little bit scary, but not too bad. Fire will keep us relatively safe through most of it.
この後、ソードの中ボスギガントエッジ戦ですね、ここは2人でせーのでドンを連発しつつ倒したら、2P の黄色カービィで死体を吸い込んで進みます。まあ、ここもいわゆる死体処理のところですね。こいつを処理しないと先に進めないので、まあ、とはいえ能力はいらないのでそのまま、
sometimes Yellow Kirby is a little bit shy and doesn't want to swallow the enemy on screen.
ちなみにその同じに見える中ボスと
か Don't worry, he'll be back later, maybe.
体力が多かったりしてちょっと隙が小さくなるのでそこはね、注意が必要ですね。まあ、スピアローパーは、例外で、まあ、色によってねちょっとパターンは違うんですけれども、まあ、基本その同じ色でやればまあ同じやつみたいな感じですね。はい、で、この4の2ですね。
Luckily, fire gets through this room with very little trouble as usual.
ここまでは、通常の能力で進んでいくところです。
And especially this room is actually really. This room can be really rough with all the ice circles falling. But if you're good with your movement, fire doesn't really have too much to worry about. Unless you slightly mess it up, in which case you might have the ability to drop, but you can usually get it right back. Also, as you can see, Shiro has gotten the crew ready, which means something is not going to survive.
まあそうだね、いろいろちょっと RTA 上は出てこない能力なんかもありますけれども。まあ、例えばスパークとかね、スパークはプラズマもスパークプラスプラズマみたいな感じとかね、ありますね。
Safe to say, this is going to be a very risky play because again, each time someone is called, it takes one extra life from you. And if they take damage, you won't get that back. So when he calls all four of them, he's going to be dropped to 0. Which carries its own risk. If you die at 0 lives, you will get a game. You'll get a game over and have to restart the entire stage. Right now, there's no risk of that. He's not needed the others, although they are ready still. And there's a chance he only calls 3 instead of 4. Oh wait, never mind. Nope, he's calling them all. But he's only calling 1. And that is because he will need Ultra Hammer. Saint Ultra Hammer is what I thought? The Grand Hammer, sorry. Either way, unfortunately, DDD's hammer is not enough. We need a bigger hammer. Lots of very scary bits here because if that movement isn't clean, there's a chance he ends up in a pit and has to either start hovering with the upper Kirby or risk a death, and that's the last thing you want. You have to go all the way back to get the enemy again. If you can, because I don't think you can with Super Bonkers.
ここは、キャリーでいくところですね、鍵。まあ、ちょっとした小技もあります。まあ、キャリーは、まあ、もともとね。
And eventually we're gonna have a different Meta Knight again, but until that, before that, we have to deal with a lot of keys.
このまま鍵を運ぶ。で、ここは鍵投げて、頬張りで一周頬張って。
Okay, that was a neat little throw there to get it onto the platform.
で、今ここに来たらメタナイトも出して、その後はメタクシーで。これもソード。
Now, normally the game expects you to grab that little cannon and just throw it that way, but we can also just shuttle loop and do it that way somehow.
非常にありがたいところ。さあ、ここのスフィアローパー戦ですが、忍者の能力が初めて出てきます。
And now we get to see another ability here, Ninja. Ninja's actually very, very strong in terms of fighting. It's not great in most other capacities, but it is amazing at combat. Completely just takes out the Spear Doomer in no time. Like, even faster than so many others. In fact, if I remember stuff like the Arena right, Ninja's actually one of your best abilities for that. And it gets a ton of damage in a very short time. And that goes through most bosses pretty fast. Unfortunately, its movement options are pretty limited and not very good.
あとは今回みたいにマルチプレイする時のちょっとした物理的な注意として5分ぐらい何もしてない状態になるといわゆるスリープ状態になってしまうので特にね本当に常時操作しているわけではないですから。
And need to be careful in this room because you'll see these giant spike balls coming like up and down. You don't want to get hit by those. It is never good.
なかなか
切れた状態で起動しようとするとたまに接続できない時があって
それは厳しいですよ。
It doesn't play it safe, he's gonna stay up there so it just goes past them and it doesn't have to run a risk. Unfortunately, this room expects you to have some way of dealing with that so you don't take like 3 hits trying to get through it. But luckily we could just call Bandanity real quick, have him do it for us, and then we're good.
下にいわゆるタワーの下にして
Another interesting room, lots of snowballs that could be very problematic, but now we're invisible, so anything else does not think we exist. So we pass through it.
この後結構出てきますね。いわゆるせーのでドンの技、カービィ、あとデデデ、メタナイト、バトルティそれぞれで技あるんですけれども、RTA上出てくるのはそのメインがカービィのせーので空気弾とあとバトルティのせーのでトリプルショットですね。ちょっと残念ながらデデデとメタナイトの技は出てます。さあここでバトルティを呼び出してせーのでトリプルショットで上の紐を切って。
And bit of a unique thing, but yes, Bandanity actually gets a unique attack when you do the guard, multi guard. And for him, that's apparently throwing extra spears. I'll be honest, I actually didn't know that was a thing. And Wallaby's just gone. Well, that's unfortunate.
こ ちょっとこの後使うテクニックがあって、ワドル D にこのバルーンボム。
It's fine.
どんどんでかくなっていって爆発するやつを持たせて。
It's fine as long as Pink Kirby doesn't die. There's nothing to worry about.
の方で左マジオクでダメージを与えつつ、最後のとどめをこのワドル D が持つバルーンボムで爆発させるというね、血も涙もない戦法、これ白さん開発です。まあね、RTA は速さが全てなんでね、しょうがないです。まあでもワドル D そんなダメージ食らってないですからね、多分大丈夫です。
Also, yes, there was a water doll bars. Unfortunately, we had a giant bomb and it didn't have a chance.
はい。で、次が4の4ですね。ちょっと一旦ここで
having it explode near us hurts us a little bit, but it hurts water doll bars a heck of a lot more, and just kind of deletes them, to be honest.
ものを3個以上同時に吸い込むと発動します。
Water doll bars does not get a lot of love.
B の場合だとね、2個だけだとミックス発動しないんで注意ですね。で、23種類のコピー能力がいわゆるルーレット状態になってピピピピってこう動き始めて止まったところで。
Anyway, this is a slightly precarious spot for Shiro to be because again, if he dies, he has to restart a stage.
ミックス使ってウィングを出すと速くなるっていうのはあるんですが。Wii のミックスはですね、ちょっと仕様がなかなか。
And if he calls anyone, they will have reduced health. I think it's either half or 1/3, but it is a lot lower than it'd be otherwise.
動体視力を持ってるやつが1周目を見てその2周目でウィングだって言って止めれば、まあ速くなる可能性がある。
Like on one hand, it's not that bad because even that low amount of health is generally more than enough most of the time.
Wii 以外のカービィ作品だと固定でそのルーレットの順番が固定だったりするので、まあ、初期位置は違ったりするかもしれませんが、まあ、そういう形で、ね。
But even then, you can still take a few hits and be generally okay unless you say run into a Gordo, run into spikes, you know, stuff that's actually really problematic. Okay, it's 1/3 health. Yeah, 1/3 health is not much, but it's still more than you think it is. Most of the time it's enough for our needs, but again, it does get a little bit scary being that no extra lives, no buffer if you mess up. Luckily, star points are not that uncommon, so getting extras will happen, it just takes time. And Shiro is just getting strike after strike here, with absolute ease, just plowing through everything. Honestly, very impressive snowball movement for that room. Doing that is very tricky. And you get the most speed if you do the dash attack right as you jump, and getting that timing is not easy.
空間ね、これ白黒なんで分かりにくいですが、まあ、ここも氷の属性なので床が滑る状態ですね。なので、適宜こうダッシュしてその滑りの、まあ、加速をうまくもらいながら進んでいくというところですね。で、まあ、この後4人タワーも組むので2、3、4キャラは、
Also, as you can see, this room is very awkward. There's no way we're using Meta Knight here. Too many hazards, too much very small bits of movement that you need. There's not really anywhere to try to shuttle loop, so it's better to just not take that risk, just use standard Kirby and be fine. And you saw Cutter for a second, but we really only needed it for that. The speedrun was just gonna have the crew just kind of rip it to shreds. Weirdly enough, even Cutter has a little bit of instant of movement options they can do. They're just kind of limited. They're not going to be anything we probably use for long because there's just better options. And Kirby, Pink Kirby hit the 6. hit the sits, have to climb. That's a time loss. You hate to see that time loss. You hate to see it. It's like the bane of every Kirby runner, regardless of the game. Just mess up the gold games, get the sits, have to climb up the clouds, and just feel absolute shame because you couldn't do the gold game right. And this is a little bit interesting. Ah, there we go. Didn't take too many tries. If one of the Kirbys is pushed up enough into the wall, you can super inhale and get the key. But getting that is not the easiest thing, and Meta Knight's actually almost got squished. Meta Knight's about to just squish it. Nope, never mind. This is a... That is some impressive movement, but that is some of the scariest movement I think I've seen all run outside of the shuttle loop at the bottom. And yellow and oh no, okay, they're fine. GDD's Shiro over here is playing with my heart, making me think they're gonna die, and then they don't. Which is actually quite impressive. That is very hard to pull off. But also, I just keep thinking, oh, they're gonna just switch, and then he barely saves them in the nick of time.
通称ここのファイナルカッターでやる髪の毛ファイナル壁抜けって言ってますけど、でも一応ファイナルではなくて、この後も3回か2回か出てきますんで、この後ですね、敵いないとちょっとそのカッターの技出せないので、ここでファイナルカッターで上に抜けたカービィに合わせて黄色のカービィが壁抜けする。
Other weird things that you can do with multiple players. If one of the players is recalled and you're near the top of the screen, there's a chance that it actually zips through onto the next possible spot it can be. And that is why one of the Kirbys is able to just go straight up and skip like half of that room. Other things that you can do is one Kirby can inhale another Kirby and actually get their ability, which leads to the interesting little bit of honestly pretty cool movement right there. And I think with this stage we're about to go to our next boss fight. So while we have this cutscene and Shiro's making its way, I guess let me talk a little bit about it before it gets completely destroyed. Anyways, our next boss is Dorimondo, basically a monkey. And for some reason, Hal decided they needed to make a giant Dragon Ball Z reference. Just said monkey does lots of punch and slam attacks. It's basically Goku with a bit of DK. So like you'll see him just do kind of normal stuff like bounding around, trying to throw snowballs and stuff. But then when you get him down to half health, he does Super Saiyan and starts doing like Dokens, and I think the EX version actually has a Spirit Bomb.
上から落下することでこう速度を加速を乗っけるみたいな、これもちょっとした加速要素ですね。
But again, there's not a whole lot to say because the bosses don't really get to do a whole lot before they're done. But Dorimondo is honestly kind of over the top by Kirby standards, and it's just a giant DBZ and DK reference. It's kind of hilarious and a little bit scary the first time through. Because you're like, oh wait, the hair changed. Wait, what's it doing? And then suddenly all these energy attacks are coming at you. Or it jumps into the air and it's like, just like, give me your power, and it's, yeah, it will catch you off guard if you're not ready for it.
あとはその1の4の春部屋っていうね、いわゆる隠し部屋みたいなところ。
I'm kind of wondering if the bosses will change a little bit in the remake. Probably not.
通常の敵で手に入るのはここの1が初めてになります。
Oh, I am intimately familiar with the Spirit Bomb attack because I remember seeing that and just remarking on like how much of a Goku reference he was by that point.
マップというか移動速度がね、全然違ってきますね。
Also, now that we're at Nutty Noon, I think it is about time we see one of our premier abilities before launch. Like, fire is good. But if I'm right, we are very close to seeing Winged. And Winged is our absolute best movement by far in this game. Like, you get Meta Knight's flapping thing. And Condorhead is just it's just fast. You will zoom through almost everything. It's to the point that the 80% route ideally misses for it in the first stage, but missing is extremely hard. In this game only, it requires 3 enemies to actually trigger a mix, and it both starts in a random spot and actually has its order randomized every time you do it. So it is very difficult to actually do it without home menu buffering. And even then it's relatively difficult to actually do. So an easier strat tends to be to get fire start and then get Winged from the Howl Room in 1-4. But you'll see here that Winged's movement is just nothing short of great. Again, Condorhead just gives a lot of distance and is very safe. You can extend it with the down attack and get a little bit more time. And doing that is actually harder than it looks. You have to do up and down and then 2. Or B, depending on like if you're playing Dream Collection, because Dream Collection also has Winged. And Winged is just as dominant in that game in the moment you use it. So this stage, you're just going to see Shiro just completely plow through everything with Winged. Just go through it as quickly as we can, while probably one of my personal favorite tracks from the series actually comes up here, Sky Tower. To this day, is still honestly one of my top 3. And unfortunately, now we have the Terrier Bomb. This room is not terribly safe, so no, it's better to do it that way. A little bit of a trickier way to do that puzzle, but really neat to do if you pull it off. And in this room, you're going to see just a combination of the wing flaps while also jumping up the ladder. Ladders are weird in this game, and jumping up them is the fastest way to get up them in general. And while Winged is okay at combat, Winged is really awkward to use on smaller enemies like Moundo here. So it is still much easier to go through it this way. でここちょっと面白い仕様なんですが、デレレ大王で杭を叩くところですね。これデレレ大王かなりこれ当たり判定広いので、なんと下からこう上の杭を。Also, we don't need stone. We have DDD, and his hammer is more than enough for us to get through that. ちょっとずるいですが。はい。でここのマップはミラクルビーム。And we're just gonna let yellow grab flare beam really quick. I am not sure what that loud beeping noise is. I hope everything is actually alright on their stage.
今光を灯すみたいな感じで秘密パートをここもかなりねこの見てわかるかあれですがかなりこのビームのねこれ感性が強いので制御が難しいところですね。実際にやったことある人はねこれの苦労はわかるでしょうが。でちょっと注意しなければいけないのは1プレイヤーの位置によってこれ今 2P のカービィでミラクルビーム発動させてるんですけどちょっとそれによってカメラのね位置が違ったりするので。
Oh, if that's the case, Shiro, that's over on Shiro's end then, but I'm sure. Hopefully things are good where he is. Also, oddly enough, the one-timer Bandanity is actually very good here because you can throw spears through the Gordos, over to the blocks, and the extra range of spear makes things a lot easier to manage. Normally, the game expects you to inhale a block and then spit it out. And while that does work, it's awkward. It's awkward if you're doing 2+ controllers, it's also slower. 3P メタナイトも加えてタワー組んでせーのでちょっと床動いてるのでタワー組むの難しいですがまあ組めてしまえばこのまま出てですね。はい、でここちょっとまたこの後小技なんですけれども一旦 2P のワドルティを消しておきます。この後吹っ飛ばしたい方なんですけれどもここでですね、うまくこの吹っ飛ばしたい方の途中で 2P 召喚してそのまま扉に入っちゃうというやつですね。はい、ちょっとここ小技ですが、まあ、本来は吹っ飛ばしたい方で天井ぶつかってドーンで落ちて扉に入るっていうところをその途中で Ethan Gold game got all sevens this time. 直接インしてしまうという方法ですね。はい、ということで5の3です。ここも先ほどの4の5で見たように already making really good progress towards standard challenge stages. 頑張り吸い込みを少しめり込ませるってやつですね。先ほどはAgain, those won't actually be a thing until the end of the run. And part of that is because the last one opens up when you get all 120 spheres, so there's really no point in doing it before then. ここは私推しのところですね。And yellow is a little low in health, but it should be okay. And we just kind of invalidated this entire sequence by doing the same trade that we did in the last world. So we already have the key, we don't have to worry about the entire chase thing. We just beat our way down with Parasol, Yellow gets to do what he needs to, and that's it. なので、ちょっとメタナイトの操作を同時にするんですけれども、先ほど言ったように1P、2P と 3P、4P の2個1で白さんこれつなげてるので、1と3をやっぱ操作するのは非常に難しいんですよ。1、2だったらまあコントローラーつながってるからそのままねいけるんですけど、ここもちょっとカメラも合わせて見てほしいところですね。ちょっと慌ただしくこう2つのコントローラーをこう持ってる方置いてる方で、だからここもやっぱ見た目よりも非常に難しいところ。And now we finally get to see high jump, and high jump's kind of neat in that you can cancel it out with an air puff and then do another one pretty much immediately. It's a little bit faster than just spamming the one button. But sometimes the one button's easier, it just depends on what's going on. And if you're not confident in your movement, it's probably better to just do it that way. But the other allows just a little bit more control, keeps you in the air so you don't really fall down at all in between them. And now we're getting back to winged, as we should. Again, winged is great. There is nothing further I need to say about winged. It is easily one of the best abilities we can have for movement in the run. And anytime that we drop it, it's because we have no choice. Like if we're doing like the super ability segments or the dimensional rooms, obviously we have to drop it because we can't carry abilities through. But otherwise, if we have access to winged, winged is definitely what we're gonna want. Now, probably the scariest bit of the room, having to go through with a giant boot and hope you don't mess anything up and fall, because if you do, it is going to be very bad. Not that it matters here, because we did drop the boot as soon as we're done with it. Very, very good movement with Wayne for the energy sphere there. And we have another mini boss coming up, and we're just gonna call the crew. And as long as things are done without too much hassle, we will have Yellow just carry Drain Hammer until we actually need to use it. Which there are multiple spots we need it this time. Just parts of this room do not get revealed until we've actually hit the stake. This is probably one of the more actual usage-heavy rooms for any of the super abilities. And there is a later stage coming up with Brain Hammer that is just about the same on that regard. Like, out of any of them, this probably sees the most use in one way or another. Whereas the other ones, Ultra Sword doesn't really need to be used more than like once or twice. Same for Monster Flame, same for Flare Beam. Flare Beam gets used a few times, depending on what it is. And Snowball gets used a lot because Snowball is actually very fast. Unfortunately, we have the ditch Wayne. For the same reasons I mentioned before, they won't let you carry the ability through. If they did, they would trivialize pretty much all of these. So, not having the ability means there's more challenge, but with extra players, you can also still trivialize a lot of it. And we're just going to multi-dart through this, so we don't really need an ability. SpeedGaming doesn't really stand a chance. That was very, very lucky on his part. What the? I thought he messed up. I was like, oh wait, they're full health. There's an extra life just in time. Literal last second save on the extra life so he get it game over. Okay, Shiro. I was not ready for that one. Impressive stuff, like, shout out to Shiro for that one. But also, maybe don't stare us like that. Also, a little bit of a Kirby staple is a mini-boss rush. However, there are two paths. There's one easy path and a hard path. For this one, we obviously take the hard path, the easy path, because the easy path is a lot faster and a lot simpler. it doesn't really matter which path you take. Both will let you get all the energy spheres, no problem. It's just that the other one is harder for both the enemies and the puzzles. And having to deal with more mini bosses and harder puzzles is, as you would expect, slower. So why would we do it? This sort of thing kind of varies from game to game. For some days, it's easier to do the harder path. For ones like Return to Dreamland here, it's easier to just do the initial path, the easier one. Also, we finally get to actually use water, and it's pretty much entirely to get rid of those, and then we're done with it. We have finally shown just a little bit of love to Water Dalbaros, and now it is time for Dubior to meet the same fate as everything else before it. Also, we don't need Spark. We don't need Spark because we can just do the thing with Banana D and get through it that way. And now that we've gone through that, we're up to our 5th boss of the game, another Sphere Doomer. I am not joking. You will see in a moment here. Also, we grab Winged because this is one of the few bosses where Winged is very, very useful against it. In fact, I think the others might actually get dismissed here. But there's a last part of the ship, and then you find that there's just another giant Sphere Doomer guarding it. Or as the game calls it, Grand Doomer. And we are going to give this poor thing the same fate as the other Sphere Doomers. So we are going to multi-guard through everything it does until we get to this part here where it becomes completely invincible to all attacks and has to be dealt with a super ability. Because we want to keep Wing for later, Paint Kirby is just going to stand there guarding, because we don't want him to take a hit, we don't want him to lose the ability. And that means Blue here can just take Ultra Sword and start cleaving through Grand Doomer, dealing with its shield. And once the shield is dealt with, Paint can just do any attack and take it out. It is very hard to actually get early hits on Grand Doomer, which is why you're seeing Shiro just spam the attack like he is. Because he's wanted to try to hit it before it just has to go through its entire animation. And now that Blue is done, drops the ability, dips out, and lets Paint finish the job. It is a lot faster to take out the boss this way. It's same for the one of the final boss forms. Because if you use the ability, you have this long cutscene where Kirby does like a really cool attack. But again, doing that in like 10 plus seconds. So it's just not worth it in a speedrun. It's faster to just do the anticlimactic smack it in the head deal. Instead of going for like just the finisher. Regardless, Wayne will be very nice to have going into Edge Engines here. We won't get to keep it for too long. We do have another super ability segment coming up, but it'll be good to have until then.
で彼ので彼の話によると、宇宙船のパーツがポップスター中に散らばってしまって、これがないと故郷のハルカンドラに帰れないということで、カービィたちはそのマホラを助けるために先ほどポップスターで宇宙船のパーツを今全部集めたわけですね。でハルカンドラに来たんですが、今度はハルカンドラではなんかランティアというねドラゴンがいきなり暴れてるということで、そいつを
Luckily those are not as scary as they look. You usually have a lot of time to actually get through them before they hit you. Say for a lot of similar stuff like the snowmen in White Wafers or the rocks in Cookie Country. But he does need to be very careful in this room because there's a lot of sleep essences, and if he hits any of them, at best, he's gonna lose wind and fall asleep and be stuck in place for a few seconds until they get Kirby out of it a little bit quickly, because you can shake the Wii remote to wake him up sooner. And at worst, if he's not fast enough doing that over the breakable blocks, he will die. Luckily, neither of that happened, and we were able to do everything very safely. But for now, we get more of Ween doing what it does best, which is just zip around everything without... I'm not going to say without a tear, because there is absolutely a lot of tear put into the movement, because if you're not, you're going to take a lot of hits. But while this movement looks very easy to do, because it's just like, oh, spam the one button, it's a lot more nuanced than that, and it's a lot harder than you think it is. Unfortunately, Wayne is not much longer for this world. We have Monster Flame, and that means we are going to lose it very soon. But it doesn't mean we can't just use it to get around all of these hazards. And it's a lot easier doing it with Wayne than it is with solo, with just one player, where you have to like dance through all of it pretty much. でここは 2P メタナイト召喚してメタ騎士で移動します。そろそろね朝方になってきましたので深夜料金が解除されたんじゃないですか。Also this room actually makes you have to super inhale a couple of times. まあ工夫というかメタナイトの上に乗っかってるカービィがいわゆるチャージ状態っていう。このキラキラした状態になっているとダメージ受けても振り落とされないんですね。It's fine. It's fine. He'll be okay. But that is a. The upside is that doing that means Kirby won't get knocked off, but you're still taking damage. It's still gonna hurt, and obviously he's a little bit low on health. ここはまたスキャローパー戦3P のカービィ出して3人タワーのせーのでドン2回からの4人目を出して4人タワーせーのでドンを2回。まあこんな感じで、まあ3人4人でうまくその威力を調整して。Now the upside is you can actually get an extra if Waddle Dee is dismissed. なるほどね。なんでちょっと本来よりも当てる回数が多くなってしまったっていうところですね。体力が一番多い銀色のスピアローパーになっているので。Double sevens. 倒し方を工夫すれば3人2回と4人2回で倒せるって感じですね。はい。ということで、6の2ですね。まあここからちょっとしばらくそのまま進むマップが多いので、ちょっとここでね、RTA この星のカービィ 100%。Okay, that was a little bit risky. こちらの RTA が、まあ、始まったのが So this stage actually tasks you to try to use a lot of different abilities to get through everything. In engine, so we are about 2/3 through the game. There's a few stages left here. There's Dangerous Dinner after this, which is 3 stages, but they're all very long stages. Also, the reason we have Parasol has the unique property of being a water attack. So doing that basic swing actually splashes water around, and that counts as a water attack as far as the game cares. Several attacks in this game have like kind of unique properties like this, and they show up even more after this one. Also, Parasol being invincible through its some of its attacks makes it very easy to get through all of this. And then we just use D to get to that energy sphere. And this room can be a little bit scary because of all these enemies. These have crashed if you inhale them, and they will blow up if you're not careful. Another kind of scary room. Weirdly, they also kind of expect you to either use like Crash or Might to get through it, so you can take out all the enemies, or you can just do it this way. Also, because we didn't just call Waddle Dee, we don't Banana Dee, we don't actually need. We don't need Spark, and we only need to hit that last block. The last block hits, reveals the middle section, and that's the one that actually has our energy sphere. Doing it with Spark, doing it regardless requires some very tricky timing, because it's very easy to just go past it and not hit it. And it's very unfortunate when that happens, because you have to replay the entire stage to get another chance at it. Okay, we should be recalling Banana Dee here. We don't really need him now. Now we have another area with a lot of wind coming up, and you're going to see Parasol probably get quite a bit of mileage for it. At least in the spots where it can. Okay, managed to get the energy there. Good. That would have been great if he couldn't, but it's not the worst time loss if you had to restart from the beginning, because it's at least the first one you deal with. Also, it is much easier to deal with both of these by doing this. Very, very good movement to get that energy sphere and get out of that room. And this room has a lot of ladders, so Parasol's not really necessary, and we can just carry Flare Beam.
今まではね、このミラクルビームのターゲットがそのまま停止していたところで、自分がミラクルビームと動かせばよかったんですが、ここはターゲットが動くところのミラクルビームなので、これだいぶ苦労した方多いんじゃない
Also, our main segment where we actually need
タイ
it.
ミングよくミラクルビーム出して、そのまま左右の移動だけで、この上下でこうバラバラに打つやつをつけてしまう。これはなかなかいい、見た目上も分かりやすいテクニカルな着弾方法ですね。はい、でそのまま異空間に入ります。ここはまた次のカービィをうまく使いながら、いわゆる1P 込みで吸い込むやつですね。
Also, that might look weird, but we are totally going to use ourselves as a projectile to get through that a little bit faster and skip like a third of the room.
あとは水中そのまま進んできますが、まあ地上に出た方がちょっと早いところはあるので、適宜水中から地上に移りながら。
I think it's the first time you see the door to all run.
そのままトゲがあったりするんですけれども、無視して、まあ、被弾で進んじゃった方が早いところはあるので、
Use the spike to damage boost a little bit.
はい、でここでスフィアローパー戦ですが、まあ、ここで初めてかな、カービィのハンマーですね。
And this time, Kirby's taking the hammer, and
ここは、このジャンプ中のこの大車輪ってやつを4発当てて、
just gonna
最後突進に合わせて
take out the Sphere Doomer
これかなり
pretty much immediately. Hammer is very strong.
で倒した後、
And then we just drop down because we can't be bothered to finish this segment.
ハンマーは最強の戦闘
This is a little bit sooner, and then we just make our way out the rest of out the stage.
ハンマーと大車輪、かなり威力がでかいです。特に鬼殺し火炎ハンマーかな。まあ大車輪だけでもね、当ててるだけでもかなり強いので、鬼殺し火炎ハンマーの方はね、その予備動作っていわゆるためがちょっと必要なんですけれども、まあその分強いものですね。はい、ということで6の4です。ここはちょっと水中が絡むんですね。ちょっとまた水中が
The 4 remotes is kind of, it's honestly been amazing to watch, but it will never not be cursed to me.
横ちょっと失礼しますよみたいな感じですり抜けてきますね。
But I struggled to wrap my head around doing that, even if I did have 4 and 1 remote. I unfortunately do not. I could. I'm familiar with running this game, but I've only ever done it with one controller because I don't own any others.
スピーの出てで召喚して、硬いハードブロックをですね、壊してエナジースフィアに入手。で、扉があるんですけれども、この扉は罠で、さらにその先に正解ルート、まあ、エナジースフィア取れるルートがあります。まあ、これはいわゆる下ルートと上ルートで今分かれているんですね。
Also, a bit of a hidden path. Oh, lost. Honestly, losing fire is not that bad. Parasol's coming up in like the next room, and we have an easy backup. Or, I'm sorry, I meant over here. I lied. I forgot about the assets for a second. Either way, we were going to grab Parasol anyway, so it doesn't matter that we lost fire.
でここで中ボスのダンクブル戦ですね。これはグリグリパラソル。パッティバッファー戦でたくさん見たりして下方向のパラソル。
Parasol made it even shorter work, and we could just use a star to actually hit the switch instead of cutter. Grab the sphere from just falling on it and keep going. Also, Parasol will give us safer movement through this room, and this room can be kind of bad at times.
別のルート通ってまた戻って先進むとこですが、まあ次を先行させて取ったら、まああとはそのまま扉に入る。まあここも連携プレイ。
Also, just enough camera so yellow could actually grab that. But this room has a few of those eels. These eels will gobble you up if you manage to catch you, and you lose your ability when that happens. So being able to just use Parasol to kind of not have to deal with it it's just nice in general.
はそのままこの水流の強い水路をそのまま進んでいってゴールですね。
And now we have enough extra life for the moment since Meta Knight was at full health. But it's only going to persist if we until we call someone again. But we've got just a couple of stages left here, and then we have our final level. Ooh, just managed to squeeze through in there. And there are several rooms like this in this stage, where if you're not in the right spot, you will get crushed or otherwise take damage. And there are energy spheres in each of them, so you have to also be careful for that. Also, you better believe we were swapping fire for weight as soon as we could. And rather than like Meta Knight throws the team, lets it go across the doors, we're just gonna bring Meta Knight to us and unlock the door. Also, luckily, a lot of these rooms give you kind of a brief moment to see what the layout's going to look like so you have a chance. They're just gone. They don't have a chance, they're just going to get squished. It's not as unfortunate as what happens to a naughty in the next one. The last one has a naughty that does not have obviously cannot move because it is asleep and it's just going to get squished and there's nothing you can do about it. It's unfortunately its lot in life is to kind of suffer. Also, this last one is a little bit unique in that it's actually multi-layered. And Shiro just barely saves the naughty. Okay then, never mind. Never mind anything I just said. Shiro is the hero to all naughties, it seems. So never mind. And as the only enemy he has saved. Probably one of the more unique bosses we're gonna have coming up here, the Metal General. It's a size-wise, it's a pretty small-looking boss, but it has a lot of different attacks and can be really tough to actually deal with, especially on extra mode, where it gets an extra couple phases. But otherwise, we are going to deal with it much like the other ways we've dealt with a lot of our boss fights. And you'll see like this little damage indicator come up, and like it actually has like a health thing. Also, we just blow up the rocket so it doesn't get to actually fly off, and then it's just done. in the normal playthrough, this is it. That's all there is to Battle General. In extra mode, there is a completely extra boss that comes up after it, and it has 2 phases. And that fight is definitely a step up in difficulty. If you don't know what you're doing. Even if you do to a point, it was. I remember it being extremely rough for me the first time I ever played this. But now we're at our final set of levels, Dangerous Dinner. Or stages, rather, since levels of worlds. Dangerous Dinner only has 3 stages before the boss fight, but each of these stages are basically double the normal length. These are easily some of the longest stages in both this game and in the series at large. Like, most of these take multiple minutes to get through. They have lots of very scary stuff in general. It's very easy to take hits, lose your ability, have to deal with lots of random things. And as you can see, there are 5 energy tiers in each of them. 2 of those in each of them are going to be for Sphere Doomers. Also, this is why we don't need the key. We just do that. We just zip through, get to the ceiling, get the sphere, done. And this is what we meant by Queen can do surprising damage, but it is very tricky. And that is largely because of that. That attack is your best way to do damage, but it is very hard to actually do. Also, without water, there is no way to actually get that key up there. So a lot of these, the initial 3 spheres are also very much a case of if you mess it up like the first time, there may or may not be in a second. For this 3rd one, there actually is. You can leave and re-enter the room. But uniquely, we have to lead this TD to its destination. And there are lots of hazards, so we have to kind of time when to hit these buttons to make it walk. And now that it's done, we just kill it, take the key for ourselves, and grab that. Grab the extra light because we have the time. Also interestingly, Snowball here has a lot of really difficult movement that doesn't actually get at much speed. Like you're either going up a bunch of slopes, or if you want to hit the pins, you have to go through a segment that's probably going to squish you. It's not very fun. It's very difficult. This is the one case where it's better to not use Snowball. But we use it the one time we need it. Freeze the volcano somehow.
また後半からちょっと出てきたテクニックですけれども、2P で 1P を吸い込みながら、星ごと飛ばすというテクニックがちょいちょい出てきます。ここだと2箇所ぐらい。こんな感じでこの。
And this is probably one of the harder dimensional rooms. And they were kind of at a point where a lot of these aren't going to let us just shuttle loop through. We have to use other tricks, other bits of movement. Like in this case, you're just going to be using Kirby, really. Kind of a close call there.
ここもちょっと壁抜けみたいな形で HP のカービィを回収して進むみたいな感じですね。
Also, they replaced one of the abilities with sleep, so if you want to use an ability, you're limited to the other one. Or you can just call the crew, multi-guard, and kill them. Which is a much better strategy, honestly. Otherwise, you have to use Whip. Whip's fine, but Whip isn't very good.
でここは4人並んでるね HP のカービィが一番近いのでそのままゴールと。はいで7の2です。ここはいわゆる強制スクロールが出てくるところなので、ここもまた可愛いワドルディージャンプですね。はい。可愛いセーブを補充しておく。
地味にパーリングより早いです。
そうなんですよね。
And now we have our lovely elevator segment full of enemies ready to try to snipe us as we get through. But if we stand right there, most of it can't do a lot to us, except for that. And we don't dart through the explosions.
耐えられる。結構ガードね、意外に使えるところは多い。
Slows down a little bit up until here, where speed starts speeding up because it wasn't even have a chance to get an energy sphere, but it's not going to give you too much time.
RTA プレイヤーとかね、本当にいろんな能力というか使える技の中でこう適切な技をこう瞬間的に出してるっていうのがよくわかりますね。はい、でここも、強制スクロールではないですが、この動く床等のギミックがあって、ちょっと周期の都合上、事実上の反強制スクロールみたいな感じですね。あんまり急いでも結局。
Has to be really quick in a lot of this because all of these move on a cycle. The sooner we can get through them, the better. And we don't need Ninja here. We just need Waddle Dee to do. We just need Banana D to do like a do his thing. Easily hits it.
紐切ってギミックを壊してエナジースフィアゲットですね。やはりこの3方向壁貫通切断属性属性モリモリのワドルティのステードで取り
And we have a mini boss coming up very soon here, so we're gonna be probably ready in the fruit before launch.
ここはちょっと一瞬だけ壁が開くかなり早いところ、ここですね。ここを越えないとちょっとこのエナジースフィアゲットできないので、かなり難しいところですね。下手すると挟まれちゃうので。はい、でこのマップはちょっと暗いマップですが、ハイジャンプで横移動ができるので、そのままハイジャンプのまま進んでいきます。まあ横移動のね、能力もそれなりにあるので、まあ、そこそこ早く進んでいくことができます。
For some reason, high jump has surprisingly good horizontal mobility, and works quite well for the times we actually have to do it for that. But now we have fire. We're set for the rest of the stage, pretty much. Well, now we are. We do have our remaining Grand Hammer segment coming up, and just like the one before, this is the one where we actually have to use it a few times.
ハンマー投げやるとハンマーの能力なくなっちゃうんですけど、まあ結局このギガトンハンマー取ると関係ないから。はい。ま その後は最低限やらなきゃいけないギミックをこのギガトンハンマーで突破していくと。
This room we won't need it much. We only need it one time, really.
ここはこのなんか赤い土管みたいなバーナーボックスとか、あとこの通電ボックスってやつですね。ここはちょっと強さ調整してこのラインを合わせないとギミックが発動しないので、まあ関係ないところはちょっと無視していきます。
It's the next room we're gonna end up needing it a bunch.
バーナーボックスの炎に当たってこの溶岩のところを抜けていきます。でここの
Also, we actually have to hit these with different levels of the charge. Pretty much the more stars that's needed for it to match, the higher the charge needed. And now for the other segment where we need to use it a bunch. Luckily, we don't have the charge at this time. We can just use our standard attack. The last one, however, I believe does require full charge. Ah, slightly missed. Yeah, I don't know how well RTA in Japan is actually advertising their restreams. And unfortunately, we don't have an English, we don't have someone lined up for every run. They were doing signups for it. There's a lot of the runs that have someone for the English restream. But unfortunately, we don't. Unfortunately, we don't have all of them, and in fact, like the next run doesn't have anyone lined up. Hopefully, more people will end up doing this in the future because the restreams are always good in general. Actually reminds me, I need to talk to the person that contacted me about the French restream for GD2. But yeah, I hopefully more do this in the future because usually when it comes to the restreams, a lot of the other runners and people are very good about actually doing stuff. And we can always stand to improve. Honestly, it'd be even better if I could actually translate what Shiro has been saying. But that is a skill set that is extremely hard to actually do. Even if I was fluent in Japanese, so it probably wouldn't be that easy to do. Luckily, I'm pretty knowledgeable about the run anyway, so it kind of works out. And I get the added surprise of whatever weird thing Shiro ends up doing that catches me off guard. And yeah, 4 controllers is a thing. It's not as wild as the controller cube I've seen another runner do, but it is definitely up there. Also, if I remember one controller strats right, that's actually a room you try to miss for winged in. And thankfully you don't do it in this version of the run. Luckily, part of this is because you have Meta Knight, you can just shuttle loop. Honestly, if you want another Kirby game to watch, I honestly recommend Kirby 64 100%. 100% runs also feature a lot of swapping abilities and interesting movement because of it. And as long as Kirby keeps guarding, he'll be okay through both stuff, as long as he has the health to hold out. And now for Dubior to get completely ninja. Drop the ability real quick because we don't need it anymore, and then get rid of DBR. Perfect. Part of that's because we get weaned in this room, I believe, if we do need it, and the other reason is we have an Ultra Sword room coming up, and we're gonna obviously need to grab it. Ooh, surprisingly good movement there. First try on the zip to get the energy here. Perfect. Perfect room.
本来はゴールドのブロックを踏んづけ手術でぶっ壊すっていうことですね。でさらにここの上にも、細かいちょっと天井抜けのところがあります。ここは天井抜けできなくてもすぐにブロックが壊れるところで短縮としては短いんですけれども、ただそれでも微短縮できる要素ですね。
We're pretty much done with the horn now because we can just fly through the rest of the room. And we need this TD. Already has it. Like, again, first try zip. And now, just to make sure we don't lose the T, as we very quickly zip up everything that we can. Jumping up ladders, slapping with wind. Okay, good, we got it. And now for our final super ability room. For what it's worth, KS isn't too bad on the misses. Most of them are actually really early misses outside of GCO wheel. But if we're talking just missing for Jet's usually a relatively easy one to get in each of them. Miss or otherwise, they're very early misses. If anything, KSU is harder because you also have candy mixes, and that definitely raises the difficulty quite a bit. Otherwise, it's largely muscle memory, and it's something you can eventually build up, but it may take a while. ここなんですけれども、2P の消すタイミングを微妙に調整することで、これカメラ調整してて、このメテオボールがこう動きやす周期がですね、これまあカメラとちょっと関係してるので。Okay, kind of impressed at the Kirby swapping that's going on here. まあそこもしっかりこれ調整してます。Although as far as now we don't really need it because we can just shuttle loop through this or just Meta Knight flap our way through. That works too. ここも水中で被弾しつつ無敵時間で強引に進んでいくこと。はい。でここのスフィアローパーはスフィアローパーズということで、まあ2体出てくるところなので、うまく突進してくるタイミングを合わせながらね、同時に倒さなければいけません。これも結構難しいところですね。Order for the movement, and then the crew to get rid of them in a hurry. Very good. Very good, very clean fight. And that is our last stage for the game, but not the last bit of the run. We still have the entire, we have the next boss coming up, we have a whole stage after that. I mean, if you're playing at top level, that's definitely usually why you're going to see a lot of resets. Otherwise, depending on your skill level, you're probably not going to see as many resets, but you're going to see longer runs. Honestly, KS is a fun run. I would definitely try it out if you ever did feel like doing so. Anyways, we are not going to be doing the boss yet, because we have just gotten our last energy sphere, And now we can do all those challenge stages that we've been putting off. There is a preferred order to do these in. Just mostly in terms of like what ability we want. Also, we have to watch all of these get unlocked now because we again we'd be putting it off for the entire run. But it's still better to do it this way than to do it any other way. But we don't do water first because we already have the ability, so we don't have to go through this tiny cutscene of Kirby getting the ability. Also, we are not worried about our score at all, so we are just going to zip through this as quickly as we can. But the score for this does actually give you like a medal. It goes from, I believe, bronze up to platinum. And then platinum in general is a very difficult task. You have to get every medal, get through this quickly enough to get a speed bonus, and then also take no damage through the entirety of it. But luckily that doesn't count for percentage, just clearing it does, so all we have to do is just get through them. Likewise, it ends up being similar for the challenge stages that show up in Dream Collection. For any percent and all challenges, which is just all stages. You don't care about score, you just care about getting through it. If you do the team's trophy run, though, you absolutely care about score because you want platinums. Also, Bomb has this weird thing where you can kind of drop one and start air puffing. It's just a tiny bit faster than not doing that. Doesn't show up much because obviously we're not going to need it much. And again, where else are we going to ever use Bomb? Honestly, though, it's the other reason I like seeing these. It's really fun watching the movement you get for the other abilities that you're probably never going to see in the run, or you only see like once or twice. Otherwise, we're pretty much just kind of going through these kind of in a circle, sort of. We probably won't do that. We'll probably jump the sword next if I remember the order right. And weirdly enough, high jump actually has an attack that goes down, and it's kind of slow. Works here because you kind of need it, but again, it's actually weirdly a slow attack. But you are invincible through it, so we, again, kind of do need it a little bit. Barely touching the door. Now, Sword actually does have its own bit of movement. The Sword Source is actually a little bit faster than just slide in sometimes. But most of the time we're going to slide because it's faster to slide out. The other move, it depends on like what we're running into. If we're running into a bunch of enemies you want to do the stab, otherwise you're probably sliding around. Like there, you actually use it.
構ね、確かに中身見ると非常によくできてて、ステージの構成とかもイラストになってしっかり出てたりするので、非常に分かりやすく作られてました。まあやはりこんな感じでね、私もその過去のプレイ経験、まあメインはその夢の泉スーパーデラックス。
But most of these challenges don't really. You're not going to see too much of them because we're just going to get through them very quickly. Almost missed the whip challenge there. That was certainly a thing. Admittedly, whip really doesn't have anything for movement. So it's going to be a lot of sliding around because we don't really care about anything else it does. Unless we have an enemy in the way, then we care long enough to hit them and get them out of here. Also, I've been glad to provide commentary for this run. I've actually honestly, Shiro's actually commentated for Japanese restream on one of my runs in the past, and it's been nice to kind of return to favor in a way. Also, there's whip challenge with 2 hits of the whip. And then we have the item challenge, which is a little bit unique in that you don't get an ability, but you're instead tasked to use most of the items to get through. So you see the key there, we did the boot long enough to just get through the blocks, and then we proceed to not care about it anymore, because the boot is slow. It really isn't the most fun to use. The cannon, however, is kind of a little more necessary and a little more fun. And while there's not much RNG in how it operates, the enemies can be a little bit weird sometimes. If anything, this challenge is neat because you end up actually using these. And it's just kind of fun to get to use them all like this. Except for the boot. Nobody likes the boot. Except now. Now we actually need the boot. And now finally wing challenge, so we can carry wing to the boss. I hope you like seeing flapping, because you're going to see a lot of flapping right here. A little bit of contra head to get through those. We're flapping around because speed. Honestly, I don't think I'll ever tire of wing movement in this game and Dream Collection. It's actually really fun once you get a hang of it. Until then, it can be a little bit rough. It can be a little bit difficult. Honestly, it kind of stays difficult. It never truly gets easier. But honestly, it's never not neat seeing what it does. Also, we don't get anything except percentage for clearing those, so we just go right back to Dangerous Dinner, and now it's time for the boss. Also, if we really needed to, we could have done a wing here, but it's faster to do the challenge and did it that way. So runs in this game can be in one of two ways. It can be either be one controller or 2+ controllers. Shiro uses 4 controllers for the run.
してくるので、その時に王冠持ちがドイツに
at the same time.
1個だけ王冠持ってるやつがいるんですけど、こいつがダメージ与えるダメージ。
Right now we don't need it. We're gonna just use Wayne and just kind of headbutt Landia a bunch here. And then for the second phase, it's gonna split up. But the one with the crown takes more damage than the others. And that's it. But yeah, when it splits up, the one with the crown takes more damage than the rest of them. So if you can hit that one consistently, it will speed up the fight. But now for the actual final proper level of the game. Now we're going through these, like, going through another dimensional thing, but this time it is because, to give a bit of a story reason, the crown that Landia had is actually the thing Madlord was wanting all along, and turns out Madlord is evil. Surprise! So now we're chasing them down. 利用して世界を征服してやろうみたいなとんでもねえやつでした。なんでこいつのためにいろいろこうトップスター Also was is a very good descriptor for him considering everything after this game. 謝罪会見をすることになるのではないかと思います。まあでも基本的にはね我々も騙されていたんですみたいな。我々も被害者なんですっていう感じだと思うんですけど、許してくれるかはわかりませんが。No, he pulled the marks pretty much. I don't think any tapes were harmed in the making of this game. And so that only happened like once. But while in landing, you have three different attacks. You have just a standard star bullet, a charge version you can get from holding the one button and shaking the Wii remote, and then finally the little dive attack you just saw with the two button. The dive is invincible and actually does a surprising amount of damage, so it's a very good move and it's a very safe move to use sometimes. And after this room here begins, effectively, the final boss gauntlet. Starting with, of all things, the very ship you helped put back together. You now have to fight the Lord Starcutter itself. The dive out does a surprising amount of damage, as I've mentioned, and it's a little bit faster to do it this way. And then, no, 100% does not include True Arena. That is completely separate from everything. The only thing that matters for 100% is the challenge stages alongside the rest of the getting all energy spheres. Which to do all the challenge stages you need all of them anyway. Anyways, unfortunately, Landia could not handle the fight, and then Mandalore just knocked them all out. Yeah, this is just main mode 100%. And if you want to know even further beyond, there is 100% for normal and extra, which is called Kirby Master. Mostly because of the cutscene at the end of doing all of that, which is, well, called Kirby Master. That is like a 5-hour run. Anyway, surprise, Mandalore is going to get taken out by the power of friendship, and lots of guarding. Aside from now, where he also puts up a shield like the Spear Doomer did. And as you can see, Paint Kirby has actually put Wink in his mouth, and that is because after every 2 hits, Mandalore will do an attack that does no damage, but forces your ability to get removed. And you cannot recover it when this happens. So, keeping it in your mouth is just keeps you safe from having to deal with that. Otherwise, you would have the carry winged, and that is very awkward, and if you're not quick, you can actually lose it that way. Also, Mandalore is very predictable in his movements, and it's very easy to actually do things. Oh, he's back. Oh, right. I know why he did that. So there was a reason he spat it out instead, and that is because when we go into the second phase, you are guaranteed to get an enemy that is one of your abilities. So you're guaranteed to get an enemy that is your ability, and also we get to see the cutscene. Normally this is slower, you wouldn't do this, but nah, we need to show off the giant sword. Show off the giant sword, do the really cool pose. It's a marathon, it's worth it. The fish would have been funnier, but giant sword works all the same. The Ultra is sword. But now we have second phase as the Master Crown fully takes him over. And it's not really himself anymore. Also, he still does the same thing as before, he takes away your ability. But, again, he's guaranteed to drop the ability you had before, not that we really need it. Again, the power of friendship is very strong, and we can just multi-door through him. Which is a good thing, because now he has his own Ultra abilities to hit us with. But he's not going to do much else. This is over. He did the if you let the fight go on, he shows off other super abilities. I think he does Monster Flame and Flare Beam. And the EX version shows off Grand Hammer, shows them off mixing them together with for example, like Grand Hammer and Snowball get mixed in. It's actually really neat to watch, but very difficult to deal with if you don't know how to deal with those attacks. But speedrun just plows through them. The power of friendship is very strong. But yeah, GG's the Shiro. Really good run. 226 is pretty solid. Also, actually, this cutscene can be skipped, but this is a really neat cutscene at the end. Like you find, Landia's okay, gets them to safety, the Lore Star cutters back to itself, as is Mandalore. But everything that happened from this whole fight is why Mandalore pretty much became a good character afterwards. Because he actually got taken over, and that was kind of not a good thing in the long run. He wanted power and realized that, oh, this is too much, actually.
まあ、だから3年ほどブランクがあって、まあ、その間に他の奏者さんとかがマルチプレイの RTA を開拓されていって、でこの RTA ここまで進化したんですね。
はい。
で今年の9月頃から、まあ、マルチプレイ
I'm honestly excited to see if the remakes, how different the remake might be for the speedrun.
全くカビ
So I definitely want to see. I want to see what, if anything, changes, or for that matter, the meta ability that's being added to that version. I want to see if that's actually any good. I would be happy to see if that actually becomes like a thing you do in the speedrun. Even if you don't, it's still gonna be neat. Still gonna be neat. I hope there's some decent extras. Very good run though. Definitely shout out to Shiro. Definitely. He is a Japanese runner, so obviously there's a language barrier, but he definitely does a lot of good stuff in his runs. So definitely follow him if you want to see like just really good Kirby play. And it does follow me if you'd like. I hope I did good commentary for this. Hopefully I get a chance to do it again. I can always stand to improve at it. But both in this and in my own content, because I know my own content's a little bit not great sometimes. But it's something I try to work on. But yeah, since I'm pretty sure Shiro will be kind of signing off here himself before lunch, I'm gonna go ahead and do the same. I wish there was somebody lined up for the next run, which let me double check that, because I do have a page of it up. The next run is Yoshi's Fully Rolled, 80% no badges. By, which is, the runner is Dosufura. Again, unfortunately we don't have anybody lined up for that run. So there probably won't be any commentary for the English restream, unfortunately. And honestly, I'll be honest, I definitely don't know that run well enough to actually commentate it well. So, the next run, the run after that does have, New Super Mario Bros. 2 does have commentary. Like, there's runs after Yoshi definitely has some commentary. Especially Captain Toad, which is a couple of runs from now. For the list of it, we have one commentator I don't know is Swordsman Kirby, which I do know decently well, and he's usually really good at commentary. But at any rate, I'm gonna sign off for now. I hope you've enjoyed the run. I hope you've enjoyed the commentary. And I hope you enjoyed the next run even without any English commentary. I'm still sure it's gonna be a good run. RTA In Japan's usually really good with their stuff. Wait a minute, what is Shiro doing? Oh, okay. just showing that to confirm that yes, we got 100%. Perfect. But yeah. Let me go ahead. Let me thank SpeedGaming for having me for this. And yeah, hope the next run is good. See y'all later.